Harry and Meghan Markle have just been banned from this year's major royal wedding. And it is a particular humiliation for the so-called Duke and Duchess of...
Well, let's start with Meghan and Harry because they've been snubbed by their family.
This is a brutal snub.
Meghan Markle has just had a date night with a Finnish man who has been accused of both sexual harassment and racism.
Meghan Markle come speak at an event for bullying when she's one of the biggest bullies, in my opinion.
Meghan Markle has rebranded yet again. But is it I have a headache chic or modern domestic snobbery?
The doors of the Montecito mansion shut with a force that echoed far beyond its walls. According to those close to the couple, Meghan fell into a silence that lasted hours. Harry, sources say, has barely slept. Because what unfolded isn't simply another slight to brush aside. This is something far more final. This feels like a closing chapter. June 6th. Mark it. Circle it. Burn it into memory, because what the royal family is set to do on that date may well be the final nail in the coffin. This is what true exile looks like in the modern age. Not a dramatic decree announced from a palace balcony. Not a public humiliation or a ceremonial stripping of titles. Just silence. An envelope that never gets addressed. An invitation that never finds its way to a certain mansion in California. June 6th, a quiet Cotswolds village, a small stone church, and a wedding. Peter Phillips, the king's nephew, is set to marry Harriet Sperling. A second marriage for both of them. Intimate, private, deliberately low-key, or so it would appear on the surface. But here's what makes this moment so significant. And why, by the end of this, you'll understand that this single wedding invitation says more about Harry and Meghan's future than anything the palace has publicly stated.
Because Harry's cousin, Philippe, it's Philip, I'm calling him Philippe.
Makes him more glamorous, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
much more glamorous, much more exotic. He's getting married, his second one. Nothing wrong with that. Second marriage is normally the best ones. So I hear.
Second time lucky.
Second time lucky. He's getting married to a lovely Harriet, and Harry and Meghan have been snubbed. They've been pushed out.
It reads like a carefully curated roll call of every senior royal still considered part of the inner circle. King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, Prince Edward and Sophie, Zara and Mike Tyndall. The gathering of the firm assembled under one roof, celebrating family. But perhaps the most telling detail of all, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are reportedly back in the fold. This, after everything that surfaced about their father in the Epstein files earlier this year. After all of that turbulence, after all of that scandal and public scrutiny, the York sisters are still embraced, still welcomed, still considered family worthy of a seat in that church. And yet, Harry isn't there. Meghan isn't there. Not even a courtesy call, according to sources. No quiet heads up, no gentle explanation, nothing. Think about what that actually means for a moment. Because the contrast here isn't just uncomfortable, it's deliberate. And once you see the full picture of what's been building behind closed doors, you won't be able to unsee it.
Sussex, because Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who you might think are just a little bit more toxic at the moment, will be there. And actually, I do think this puts pay to some of the suggestions that there is this type of reconciliation going on between the fake royals and the real royals. Let's just leave King Charles to one side. I think the young royals absolutely have no contact with Harry and Meghan anymore.
And the guest list? It reads like a carefully curated roll call of every senior royal still considered part of the inner circle. King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, Prince Edward and Sophie, Zara and Mike Tyndall. The gathering of the firm assembled under one roof, celebrating family. But perhaps the most telling detail of all, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are reportedly back in the fold. This, after everything that surfaced about their father in the Epstein files earlier this year. After all of that turbulence, after all of that scandal and public scrutiny, the York sisters are still embraced, logical explanation, nothing. Think about what that actually means for a moment. Because the contrast here isn't just uncomfortable, it's deliberate. And once you see the full picture of what's been building behind closed doors, you won't be able to unsee it.
But the thing about Peter Phillips that's really interesting is that he was incredibly close to both brothers. And you will remember at the funeral of Prince Philip, when there were so many concerns about Prince William and Harry being in close vicinity of each other, he was chosen to stand between.
And this isn't just about any cousin being left off a guest list. Peter Phillips wasn't a peripheral figure in Harry's life. He wasn't some distant relative Harry exchanged polite nods with at Christmas. This was the man who physically positioned himself between William and Harry at Prince Philip's funeral, deliberately placed there. Chosen specifically because the family feared that without a buffer, the two brothers couldn't even stand within arm's reach of each other, without the tension becoming visible to the entire watching world. That image, the three of them walking in silence behind that coffin, Peter quietly absorbing the weight of a fractured brotherhood, on one of the most solemn days the family had faced in decades. That image said everything words couldn't. And now, at Peter's own wedding, at what should be one of the happiest celebrations of his life, Harry isn't there. The man Peter once protected, quite literally, didn't make the cut.
This is a brutal snub. This is a wild slap in the face. Harry will be devastated. Now, it's not certain that the couple would have attended. We've got that nonsense about their security, which to me is total fake news, considering the couple travel the world, go to lots of other dangerous places without armed cops. But that aside, that's the excuse for them not coming to the UK yet together as a family.
He called them vulgar. Levin's assessment was blunt, unsparing, and delivered without apology. This, she said, was not how a royal bride conducts herself. Her description of Meghan in those images was pointed that she looked, in Levin's own words, like a tart. The kissing captured in the photographs was not restrained. It was not elegant or understated in the way royal public appearances traditionally demand. It was theatrical, performative, designed to be seen, to be felt, to demand a reaction. And the selection itself was telling. From an entire archive of wedding photographs spanning one of the most documented royal ceremonies in recent memory, Meghan had reached in and deliberately pulled out the most physical, the most visually charged, the most attention-commanding images available to her. The question nobody could avoid asking was, why these? Why now? Why this week? The answer, when you line up the timeline, becomes uncomfortably clear. The day before the Instagram post, Catherine had been photographed in Italy, radiant, warmly received, surrounded by genuine public enthusiasm. And the day before that, Meghan had been photographed alone in Geneva, empty pavements behind her, and a notorious dinner companion beside her. The sequencing tells its own story.
That is absolutely categorical. But this is how People magazine tried to spin it. So they confirmed that Harry won't be part of the wedding to Harriet Spurling. They confirmed this Hello magazine report that he wasn't invited to the nuptials, which will take place very soon, actually. It's a summer wedding on June the 6th. And as I said, this is the big royal wedding of the year. A friend of the couple telling Hello, Peter and Harry haven't spoken for several years and have simply lost touch, so he hasn't been invited. Now again,
Christmases at Sandringham. Years of them. The kind of shared memories that don't fade easily, cold mornings, crowded rooms, the particular warmth of family gathered together in that grand estate. And beyond the formalities, beyond the royal rituals, there was something genuinely personal between them. They were drinking buddies in their younger years. Lads together, laughing together, living in a world most people could never imagine, but navigating it side by side. All of it, every shared memory, every private joke, every bond quietly built across decades, apparently gone, dissolved, as if it never existed at all.
Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Scamelot, she has taken her scams abroad again. This time she seemed to be flying solo. I guess she left Prince Harry at home. He's probably so happy to have the house to himself. Don't you know Prince Harry is happy to have the house to himself? But Meghan Markle, she went to go speak at the unveiling of this monument to honor children who have taken their lives or lost their lives due to cyberbullying.
Hello magazine ran a cover line that almost instantly became a punchline. Their chosen explanation. That Peter and Harry and the official narrative being offered to the public is that they just drifted apart. But let's be honest about what that phrase actually means in this context. You don't lose touch with your own cousin by accident. Not when you've spent decades in each other's lives. Not when that cousin once stood between you and your brother at your grandfather's funeral because the family trusted him above anyone else. That kind of distance doesn't happen passively. It happens deliberately. It is chosen. And that alone would be enough to fill an entire conversation. But it doesn't stop there, because what Meghan did next didn't just add fuel to the fire. It multiplied the damage tenfold. What she did next is the part nobody is talking about clearly enough, and it changes everything about how this story ends.
Prince William's jaw pointed out she was assigned to a bus stop. Look at that. Look at in the red circle. So actually, the woman who everyone's saying is there to watch was actually just trying to get home. Meghan's mole pointed out that even the Sussex squaddies couldn't be bothered to go to Geneva to support Meghan Markle, and as J.E. May quite rightly added, take away the staff and media required to be there for work and you'll be left with the flagpole.
While Harry was quietly processing the sting of being shut out from Peter's wedding, Meghan was on an entirely different continent, pursuing an entirely different agenda. She was in Switzerland, solo, deliberate, and carefully staged. No Harry by her side, just her, the cameras, and what was clearly designed to be a defining moment in her reinvention as a serious global figure. The venue was the World Health Organization. The cause was child online safety. The optics were calculated, a duchess turned humanitarian, standing on one of the most recognized international platforms in the world, speaking on an issue that carries genuine weight and moral urgency. It was meant to be her coronation, a statement to the world that Meghan Markle had arrived, not as a royal appendage, not as a tabloid headline, but as an independent, credible, global voice in her own right. Instead, it was a catastrophe.
Accused politician. Here he is, Willy Ridman, and he is a Finnish politician who, according to the Royalists, is facing sexual harassment and racism allegations. Tom Sykes reports regular readers of the Royalists will know that we have often warned of the dangers and difficulties that Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry face when engaging in their quasi-royal tours due to a slim staff and a lack of local on-the-ground support when they travel overseas. Case in point is surfacing today, with Meghan facing into a selfie crisis that is sure to have her PR team feeling a serious headache coming on, when a 17-year-old girl reported to a sexual abuse support chat that a party member had been harassing girls aged 14 to 17 for years. The complaint triggered a wider inquiry in which 6 women said they had experienced unpleasant encounters with Ridman, all but one of whom were underage at the time. In total, 9 women have alleged that Ridman behaved in a harassing manner towards them. Allegations he has denied, according to the Finnish newspaper Helsingin Sanomat.
The Renta crowd jokes started writing themselves online, spreading faster than any official statement could contain. But just as the Geneva optics were already unraveling, the situation took a turn from embarrassing to something far more serious. Meghan was photographed at a dinner during the Geneva visit, smiling, relaxed, posing for a selfie alongside a Finnish politician named Billy Ridman. On the surface, a routine networking moment at an international event. The kind of photograph taken hundreds of times at gatherings like this. Except Billy Ridman is not a routine political figure right now. He is currently at the center of one of the most disturbing and high-profile scandals in Finnish political life. 9 women have come forward with accusations of harassment against him. 6 of those women have stated that their unpleasant encounters with him occurred when they were between the ages of 14 and 17 years old. The complaint that triggered the formal process was filed by a 17-year-old girl who reported the incidents to a sexual abuse support service. And Meghan, who had flown to Geneva specifically to speak at the World Health Organization about protecting children online, was photographed smiling alongside him.
For it appears that at the dinner hosted by the World Health Organization in Geneva, Meghan posed for a photo with a Finnish far-right politician who has been accused of sending vile racist text messages and of sexually harassing young women and girls. In a post on X published on Monday, Finland's Minister of Social Affairs and Health, Willy Rydman, shared a smiling photo with the Duchess, simply captioning it "A dinner with Meghan." But of course, the Sussex squad was soon out, writing, "Are you not the bloke who faced allegations of inappropriate behaviour towards young women and was implicated in racist private messaging?"
And it didn't stop there. Leaked text messages attributed to Rydman also surfaced, appearing to show him using deeply offensive and vicious racial language. Let that sink in for a moment. Meghan, a woman who has spoken publicly and repeatedly about her own painful experiences with racism, a woman who made those experiences central to her very public departure from the royal family, a woman who positioned her entire Geneva trip around advocacy and protection of the vulnerable, was now linked, through that single smiling photograph, to a man accused of predatory behavior toward teenage girls and the use of racist language in private correspondence. The timing, the symbolism, the sheer contradiction of it all. It was the kind of image crisis that no communications team can easily walk back.
The strategy is nuts, but we see right through it. So officially, Meghan shared these unseen wedding photos to celebrate her 8th anniversary with Prince Harry. It was posted on Instagram with a crescent moon, and she said 8 years ago today, with a photo credit to the wonderful Chris Allerton. There was also something coded in the song that she chose to put these pictures to, Paula Abdul's "Forever Your Girl."
The leaked messages revealed language that was as ugly as it was unambiguous, referring to Middle Eastern people with dehumanizing slurs, using the phrases incomprehensible monkeys and desert monkeys, and deploying racial slurs targeting Black people. The kind of language that leaves no room for interpretation or charitable reading. And then Rydman himself posted the photograph with Meghan on his own social media, smiling, proud. The caption he chose was pointed, almost surgical in its cruelty. "Dinner with Meghan, the self-proclaimed champion of women, the campaigner for racial justice." He knew exactly what he was doing. He understood precisely what that photograph meant in the context of who he is and what he has been accused of. And he used it, used her presence, used her brand, used everything she has built her public identity around, and turned it into a weapon aimed directly back at her. It was a PR catastrophe layered on top of an optics disaster, wrapped inside a week that was supposed to represent Meghan's triumphant emergence as a global humanitarian voice.
To be honest, I think that's a bit more of a threat to Prince Harry, isn't it? It's like, you're not getting away from me. So let's have a look at these. Oh, God. Yes, they were in love once, folks. They were. You know, as Lady Colin Campbell put it, he was whipped at the time. And this was an era where there was true happiness, really, between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It wasn't to last, of course. And it is quite extraordinary.
She called them vulgar. She said this was not how a royal bride behaves. She said Meghan looked, in her words.
The royalist reached out to the Sussex's representatives to ask whether Meghan was aware of Redmond's past when she posed for a selfie with him. A spokesperson said that Meghan was approached during the dinner by several attendees for a photograph, which she often politely obliges, and that she was not aware of Redmond's past. Understandably, vetting the background of every person who asks for a selfie is not possible, a spokesperson for the Duchess of Sussex.
There she was, grinning ear to ear, standing beside him, the photograph impossible to walk back once it was out in the world. Her team moved quickly to contain the damage. The official response was that Meghan gets approached for photographs at public events regularly, that she had no idea who this particular man was, and that vetting every single person who requests a selfie simply isn't a realistic expectation for someone in her position. A reasonable defense, perhaps, under ordinary circumstances. But these were not ordinary circumstances. This was a carefully organized international event. This was a trip built around the specific theme of protecting women and children. And the man in that photograph had posted it himself with a caption designed to maximize humiliation and The damage, as her own team quietly acknowledged, was already done. The Daily Mail reported that Meghan appeared visibly nervous and tense throughout the week in Geneva. Stiff, guarded, a woman carrying the weight of a trip that had slipped far beyond her control. Looking at everything that unfolded that week, the empty pavements, the unflattering comparisons to Catherine, the photograph, the caption, it is genuinely difficult to be surprised by that. And here is the part that Harry, by all accounts, has not yet fully come to terms with, because it isn't just the royal family closing ranks. The Hollywood doors are closing too. The Obamas have gone cold. The Clooneys have grown distant. Oprah Winfrey, the woman who once threw open the doors of her own Montecito home to them, who handed them one of the most watched interview platforms in television history, has quietly stepped back. Multiple recent reports point to the same conclusion, that at some point, the A-list made a collective and largely unspoken decision. The Sussexes are toxic. Being photographed.
Can you believe it? Meghan Markle has rebranded yet again. What is it? I have a headache chic or modern domestic snobbery? That is the question. While we are on our fourth official rebrand for her brand as never it should be called because it is never the same, and as ever would imply some degree of stability. So let's go through this super cringe video first, shall we? This is just plain rough. Like on the surface, this is horrible. We're gonna go through it frame by frame. I have rarely seen anyone this self-obsessed. Truly, the squinty, half-open eyes while hesitating before eating a berry. It's not just cringe, it's bizarre.
In their orbit now carries a reputational cost that even the most established names in Hollywood are no longer willing to absorb. Even Beverly Hills has its limits. So who remains on Team Sussex? Meghan's makeup artist from her Suits days, a handful of stylists, a PR contractor or two. That, by most accounts, is the inner circle as it currently stands. The Fab Four they once promised the world, the modernizing quartet that was going to reshape the monarchy from the inside, is now just two people in a Montecito mansion, watching a cousin's wedding unfold on a screen they weren't invited to appear on. June 6th will come and go. Peter and Harriet will walk down the aisle of that small Cotswolds church. The senior royals will be photographed together, smiling. Beatrice and Eugenie welcomed back into the fold. Catherine will look radiant. William will look every inch the future king. And Charles will look like a man watching his family, slowly and deliberately, put itself back together. 8 time zones away, in California, Harry will be watching it on a phone, refreshing news sites. Staring at photographs of a brother he will, in all realistic probability, never truly embrace again. While the woman who promised him a new life plans her next carefully staged Instagram post. This is what collapse looks like. Not a single dramatic explosion witnessed by the world. A slow disappearance. A door closing quietly. A lock turning without ceremony. An envelope addressed to everyone except you. The door is shut. The lock has turned. And the invitation is never coming. That completes the full rewrite of all parts. The script has been fully reconstructed from beginning to end, same message, same narrative arc, completely fresh language throughout, with 2 audience retention hooks woven naturally into Would you like a clean, compiled version of the entire script in one